Eat Lux your way with the Lux Cravings boxes from Taco Bell. There's the classic $5 box, the indulgent $7 box, and a whole new obsession in the $9 box, the Flamin' Hot Grilled Cheese Burrito. Try the Lux Cravings boxes at Taco Bell today.
As sports fans, we may cheer for different teams, but there's one thing that we can all agree on. We want the game to be big. And with 3 levels, 30 cabanas, a 143-foot screen, 6 clean pools, and endless cold drinks, it doesn't get any bigger or any better than Stadium Swim in Las Vegas. All sports, all seasons. It's more than a pool deck. Stadium Swim. It's the only thing like it in the world.
Check out the all-new Blue and Orange store at the Boise State Hall of Fame. The Blue and Orange store has your best game day gear. We're talking jerseys, hats, bumper stickers, car flags, more than 4,000 hats on the hat wall. If you want the best Boise State gear, make sure you check out the Blue and Orange store online at theblueandorangestore.com or the all-new Blue and Orange store down at the Boise State Allen Noble Hall of Fame.
Sunny days call for Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea. Made with real iced tea and real vodka. Refreshing and goes down smooth. Let the good times cruise with Sun Cruiser.
How's your day going?
Going good. Thank you. Yes.
When I want Boise State to win, I trust Coach Rice to lead the Broncos to victory.
And when I want the best painting and garage floor coating, I trust rowpaint.com to get that job done right.
Hey Bronco Nation, this is Shannon Keegren with Boise State Softball. Summer in Idaho is the best time of year. Rodeos, camping trips, and the hikes that end in views you'll never forget. At Lithia Ford of Boise, we're here to get you there. With a team known for incredible customer service, the best new and pre-owned inventory, and a commitment to making your experience easy, friendly, and fast. But here's the best part. Every purchase here helps support Boise State athletics through their NIL partnership and athletic sponsorships. See you soon at Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Bronco Nation News Live is the only daily show that talks nothing but Boise State sports. And we do it with you. Give us your comments or questions in the ICCU YouTube chat. Or leave us a voicemail on the Signature Roofing voice inbox at speakpipe.com/BNN. BNN broadcasts come from the Sun Cruiser Studios. Sunny days call for Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea. Made with real iced tea and real vodka. It's refreshingly smooth and easy to drink. Crack open a Sun Cruiser and let the good times cruise. Bronco Nation News is presented by our title sponsor, Lithia Ford of Boise, and our major sponsors, Taco Bell, Idaho Central Credit Union, RoadPaint.com, and the Blue and Orange Store. At Lithia Ford of Boise, we're proud to stand with Boise State athletics. Through our NIL marketing partnerships, we're investing in the future of student athletes. Lithia Ford of Boise, here to get you there, wherever that may be. Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho. Broadcasting from the Sun Cruiser Studios, here's BJ Rains with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Well, what's up, Bronco Nation? How we doing? BJ Rains and Johnny Ballgame with you here on a Thursday edition of Bronco Nation News Live. Presented by our title sponsor, Lithia Ford of Boise. Jim Sturk and Company. Appreciate Lithia Ford of Boise. They got that 72-hour sale. It is going on right now. So the best prices of the year right now through the rest of the weekend over at Lithia Ford of Boise. Make sure you get over there. Check them out. Jim Sturk and Company, ready to help you. Lithia Ford of Boise. I'm in the Sun Cruiser studios here in Meridian. Johnny Ballgame, KTIK, is in the Lithia Ford of Boise studios there in downtown Boise. Johnny, it's Thursday, and I got a lot to discuss here for the next half an hour or so before Jeramiah Dickey joins us. You're going to help warm up the audience and get a nice big bass audience for Jeramiah Dickey at 9:30. How we doing?
Hey, BJ. Thanks again for having me. Always enjoy my Thursday appearance. Speaking of Sun Cruiser, I had some people over the weekend and whatnot, and I just noticed they were popping Sun Cruisers, man. So I got to say, okay, well done, BJ.
There we go.
Nice job, and those things seem to go down pretty well. They were big fans of the Sun Cruiser, like multiple flavors, so good to know you've hitched your wagon to another very successful business venture with Sun Cruiser. I'm excited to come on because I love the player we're talking about today, and I like a lot about the schedule that we learned yesterday.
Yeah, we'll start with the schedule, and then we are going to get to Roman Tillmon, our player today, the South Dakota transfer at safety, and we'll talk about him in a few minutes. And then, as I said, at 9:30, Jeramiah Dickey, the Boise State athletic director, is going to join us. So get your questions in now. Questions, comments, whatever you got for Jeramiah Dickey, get that in. He'll join us here at 9:30. But, Johnny, the schedule came out yesterday. Here it is on the screen. I know you guys talked about it on Idaho Sports Talk. Prater and I were kind of guessing on yesterday's show, trying to make some predictions here. But the official 2026 Boise State schedule is out. The TV schedule, that is. We get everything except the flex game, obviously, and then that Week 4 game at Western Michigan. But in all, so far, 5 games on the USA Network, 2 on the CW, 2 on CBS Sports Network, and 1 on Big CBS. They could get a second on the Big CBS if they make the conference championship game there. All games that we know so far, Johnny, the regular season for the first time since 2000, all the games are on Saturdays in the 12-game regular season schedule. Again, that hasn't happened in nearly 3 decades for Boise State to not play a Thursday or Friday game in the regular season. And the opener, 1:30 on CBS, a 12:30 start, afternoon start over there at Autzen Stadium for the season opener. No having to wait around all day on opening weekend till 8 p.m. or something for the first kickoff. You wake up, you get the Bloody Marys going, kickoff Pacific time at 12:30. And then obviously the home opener, 4 o'clock. That could be a little bit of a warm one. But what stands out to you, Johnny Ballgame, about the TV schedule here?
Man, I can almost taste it, right? Just the description you had there, those first couple Saturday mornings of the year, the Bloody Marys going, the weather is still spectacular. Everybody, all fan bases are excited still because, they think their team still is in it, so to speak. It's just a wonderful time of year, BJ. Excellent description there. I'll start with the television package. USA Network, well done. First off, I think, as USA, carrying a bigger stick in this thing than the CW or CBS Sportsnet, because it feels like, just looking at the games that these networks are broadcasting in this conference this year, USA Network got the best ones. I'm kind of intrigued to see what they're going to do with this. People could joke and say, well, USA Network, what is it, sandwiched between Baywatch and Silk Stockings, or the next season of Psych? Is the premiere coming? But I see some of these matchups. I'm thinking, I might give this thing a shot. Maybe they're going to do this thing well. If you have YouTube TV, I know most big-time sports fans do.
Just
because
pops
of the
up right there on the main page.
You don't even have to look for USA. Once you just turn your TV on, every football game is pretty much right in front of you. And if you've went to USA to say watch one game, the rest of the year, it's going to pop up. It's going to be right there in front of you. It's an easy peasy nowadays. You're not buried. Nobody channel surfs. If you're thinking you're going to get the random channel surfer, no one just sits there and goes, Yeah, you don't do that anymore. Those days are done. So think about this. USA Network gets Boise State at Wazoo. That's one of the premier games in this league. USA Network gets Boise State hosting Oregon State. USA Network gets a game that I think is going to be spectacular. Boise State at Colorado State, because I'm all in on Mora hitting the ground running there this year. I think they're going to have a lot of fun in FOCO, BJ. And then San Diego State, which might be the game of the year in the conference this year, USA Network. Like, if this is a draft or whatever.
And the Memphis, the home opener. They get the Memphis game.
Thank you. So if this is like a draft, then I'll say the dudes at CBS Sportsnet in the CW, they don't know what the hell they're doing. You know, they had bad picks in this thing because this USA Network has all the juicy games for a Boise State fan in this league. So maybe that's going to be a cool thing. And the one thing I'll say is, gosh, man, just selfishly, I'm hoping that the Western Michigan game is on a Friday. Just give me one.
I don't think it can switch. I think it's too late for that.
Is it really? Okay. I thought maybe Prater said that one could still switch because it's a TBD on the kickoff because they don't know what network is going to carry it.
I think now that just falls into one of those 12-day things where you find out 2 weeks before what it is. But I think the day is set for Saturday. Okay,
then dang, man. Selfishly, I wish there was one non-Saturday game. But this has not happened since 1998. You go through an entire season not playing any day except on Saturday. That won't happen until the Pac-12 championship game, which is on a Friday night. Boise State hasn't had one of those seasons since Dirk Cutter's first year, 1998. They played every single game that year, including they didn't go to a bowl game that year. Every single game they played on a Saturday. The following couple years, every single regular season game they played on a Saturday, but the bowl games were not on Saturdays. Credit Tom Scott for giving me that information yesterday, BJ. So this is somewhat historic. And this is, hey, well, what are the perks of being in this league? Well, what is it? What are we going to get? Well, I think you get stuff like this. You get Saturday games and the home schedule. 3 games are 5:30 kickoff and earlier. 3 games are later. So you get a split. It's not every game late. You remember the days where half the games weren't on Saturday and half the games started at 7:30. We both showed up in this town in that era, BJ, covering this.
I think it was 2014 or 2015, 2013. One of my first years here, literally 6 of the 12 regular season games were not on a Saturday.
Yeah. Now you have all 12 and very reasonable kickoff times for fans. Like, this is the perk of going into this league and playing at this level and whatnot. Like, you know, there's only 4 games of inventory. There's only 8 teams in this league. So you're not buried all over the place. A couple of things there, but yeah, I think I'm pretty excited. I think overall for this schedule, not a lot of buzzkills, I don't think.
Blake says all games on national TV. I even saw Arizona State. Arizona State has to play a game on ESPN Plus. And so, yeah, I mean, you mentioned the channel surfing, Johnny. You're not necessarily channel surfing, but when you do turn on that YouTube TV, you get all your games right across there, and a USA Network and a CW will pop up on that main YouTube TV while some games on ESPN Plus or whatever else will not. You have to go to a separate app for those. So you could make a case that the USAs and the CWs of the world are better deals than some of the alternative networks where you have to go to the ESPN app or whatever to find the game and things like that. But I think the Oregon game is great. Getting that game at an afternoon game, for fans, like I said, you wake up, you don't have to sit around and wait all day. And you get on national CBS. First game of the year, that afternoon window, national CBS. That's one of the biggest windows channels in the entire country, is that afternoon CBS spot that the SEC made famous for so many years there, the 3:30 Eastern time slot. Now that's gone to the Big Ten, and that's a prime spot on national CBS for the season opener at 12:30. I think that's awesome. It allows folks like me, too, to even get home on Saturday night. There's a late flight out of Portland, I think. I'm going to try to get home late Saturday night. But what do you think of the 4 o'clock opener? I remember that UCF opener a couple years ago. I want to say that was 1:30. Maybe it was 5, but it was super hot with the sun pounding on those folks on the east side of the stadium. There is a little concern, I guess, 4 o'clock home opener. But again, people complain that every game's at 8 or 9, and then they're going to complain that it's at 4 because it's too hot. I mean, it's always, I saw folks complaining about everything. I don't have a huge problem with the 4 o'clock. You can get out there and tailgate, but probably will be a little warm for that Memphis opener.
Man, I mean, as opposed to 1, as opposed to late night, I think 4 is fine, man. Yeah, it's a late Saturday kick in mid-September. I mean, this isn't Burger King, man. You can't have it your way. 4 o'clock, dude, right in the middle of a college football. You can wake up, watch the entire morning games, then head down to your tailgate or head down to your tailgate early, watch the entire morning slate from your tailgate with a cool TV setup and whatnot. Like 4 o'clock? Hell yes, man. I mean, that way you're not leaving the stadium at 11:15. Your kids are sleeping and you're carrying them out of Albertsons Stadium because they couldn't make it. I'm totally okay with these kickoffs. And the Memphis Boise State home opener, that's the biggest game of the year. I think 4 o'clock's a good time. The one thing that I have is they play on Halloween on a Saturday.
8 o'clock.
Okay, Prater was saying, first off, if they don't wear the black and orange uniform combo, come on, somebody missed a boat on that. Take advantage of your black and orange. Go Halloween for that. But we had a texter, a couple of them yesterday on Idaho Sports Talk saying Boise State or Jeramiah Dickey or somebody should organize some type of trick-or-treating event at Albertsons Stadium before the game so mom and dad can take the kid down there and they can trick-or-treat before the game and whatnot. And I don't think Boise State wants to get involved in that. I think you're just going to have to plan ahead on that. Like you said, it's a late night
trick-or-treat from 5:30 to 6:30 or something, and then hurry down to you may not get the tailgate experience, but you can still tailgate.
Most kids are going to want to trick or treat for more than an hour, especially on a Saturday night. That's a gold mine for a kid. Wait, it's just not a school night on Halloween? Oh, sweet, we're staying out. So you'll just have to plan ahead on that one. But and I don't know about the students. I remember in college, at least way back when we went, BJ, like 20 years ago. The party really didn't start on Halloween until about 11 midnight. So, if you're a student, you're thinking this is kicking off at 8. They leave by halftime anyway.
It's also the most non-exciting Pac-12 home game that there is. Texas
State. I know, man. Yes. Good point. So that was kind of my talking point. What's going to happen on that Halloween? I think that's going to be kind of cool.
Yeah, it is one that I saw some people complaining about as a little bit of a bummer, but maybe there is a way to, like you said, incorporate Halloween into that. Luckily, it is 8 p.m., so maybe you can go do a little bit of tailgating or something. I don't know. Or trick-or-treating. I'll obviously miss trick-or-treating as many of the media and folks and coaches and players and everybody involved that have to be there will with our kids, but it is what it is. The 4 o'clock games, though, Johnny, you get some 4 o'clock road games, which I like. The 4 o'clock at Washington State, the 4 o'clock at Colorado State is also nice. And then the Oregon State home game is 4 o'clock. I mentioned the Memphis game being at 4 o'clock. I think 5 o'clock was previously the time on CBS Sports Network. And some of those, they do it at 5. But you do get a decent number of games at 4 o'clock late afternoon.
Dude, that's 6 p.m. Eastern. It's a primetime window, basically. You're playing 6 to 9 o'clock in the Eastern window. Whether people care to watch Boise State or the Pac-12, well, that's their prerogative. It's going to be there, and it's going to be in every single home, from rabbit ears to any type of streaming package. If it's on of the CW, you're going to be able to watch it. And I know BJ probably had to send his boy Rich Waltz a text last night. Oh, I'm so sorry. You're only doing 2 Boise State games, so we won't be able to hang out and get that steak dinner I owe you. But I like the fact that Boise State only got 2 games on CBS Sports Network.
2 home games, though. You might get to see Rich Waltz on the blue, which we haven't seen in a while.
I'm sure you guys have talked about that, and you're already pushing for Rich Waltz and Aaron Taylor to get that game. But it feels to me, and I like those guys like you do. I like CBS Sports Network, and they've covered this league well. Good for them. But you're kind of buried when you're the CBS Sportsnet game. For me, that game, that network screams Mountain West late night now. You're going to get Wyoming, love ya, New Mexico on CBS Sportsnet. You're going to get that game. And Boise State's only on that channel 2 times this year and not after October 3rd, the rest of the way.
Yeah, well, again, overall, I think it's a pretty nice schedule. We'll wait to find out the flex game, and we'll wait to find out week 4. I think that'll be that 12-day window. So like the Monday after the Memphis game, we'll find out what the time and channel and everything is for the Western Michigan game. But I'm pretty sure, Johnny, and I'm wrong often, but I'm pretty sure if it was going to change dates, they would have had to announce that yesterday.
Okay.
I think the Saturday date is now locked in. They don't change those dates like once the season has started. So we'll find out, but 10 of the 12 we now know. We'll wait for the flex game. But yeah, new channels, new networks, and a new vibe for the TV schedule going into the season. All right, Roman Tillmon is our number 16 player, number 17, excuse me, the safety from South Dakota, the transfer. We're going to talk about him in just a second, and then Jeramiah Dickey is going to join us, the athletic director at Boise State, in 10 minutes. So make sure you get your comments and questions in for Jeramiah Dickey. He's going to answer your questions right here in 10 minutes. But we'll talk Roman Tillmon next. First, Johnny, I mentioned Lithia Ford of Boise. Their 72-hour sale is going on right now. 72-hour sale. The best prices of the year right now. You can come on in and check them out now till the end of workday on Sunday. Lithia Ford of Boise, now is the perfect time for the 72-hour sale. And I can tell you about it, but we'll let our man Matt Wagner tell you about it as well.
Hey, Bronco Nation. This is Matt Wagner of Boise State football. In football, opportunities can open up, but only for a moment when the best players know when to step up and step in. At Lithia Ford of Boise, our 72-hour sales event is going on now. Works the same way. This Thursday through Sunday only. Take advantage of limited time pricing, strong trade-in values, and competitive selection of new and pre-owned vehicles that are ready to meet real-world needs. Bronco Nation, this is your opportunity to step up and step into Lithia Ford of Boise and make the most of it this Thursday through Sunday night. Don't wait. Come see us at Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho.
All right, check out Lithia Ford of Boise. Also check out Sun Cruiser. Johnny mentioned they were flowing at his gathering the other night. Sun Cruiser, whether it's the iced tea vodkas, the lemonade vodkas, so many great flavors. You can pick one up at your local gas station or grocery store. Perfect beverage for the weekend. Here we are on Thursday. Perfect beverage for if you're going golfing or if you're just hanging out, watching kids baseball or tournaments or barbecuing, whatever you got going on this weekend. Pick up a Sun Cruiser. ICCU.com. Pearson Carmichael, Idaho Central Credit Union. He's one of their many NIL athletes. They got Maddox Matson as well. So Idaho Central Credit Union, ICCU.com. Make the switch today. There's a branch pretty much on every corner, but the easiest, that mobile e-branch online banking. You don't know what you're missing, folks, till you make the switch. Check them out today, ICCU.com. Jackson's, an extra mile by Jackson's. You can save up to $32 at Roaring Springs when you buy 2 Coca-Cola products from our friends at Jackson's. Again, just go into Jackson's or Extra Mile by Jackson's, and you can save up to $32 when you buy 2 Coca-Cola products from our friends at Roaring Springs. Taco Bell, Johnny, anything new with the great Taco Bell? Ballgame took off his headphones. We're trying to ask him about Taco Bell.
Oh, man, what about it this time?
What's you get 30 seconds to pitch Taco Bell. What's the pitch today, man?
Let's see. Let's go with a cheesy gordita crunch. How about 2 bean burritos, a cinnamon twists, and a grilled cheese burrito.
Oof, I like that. The my kids still like the good old-fashioned cheesy roll-ups, Johnny. There's so many great things at Taco Bell, and I can't get them past the very basic thing that I could probably make, in my house, but they just love the Taco Bell cheesy roll-ups. Are you a big slushy guy too? They have all the slushies, the Baja Blast, and all the various options there. So Taco Bell, check them out, TacoBellWorks.com. For decades, the Nicolason family has been running Taco Bells in the Treasure Valley in the Northwest here. So when you're ready for a delicious meal and a cheap meal and a quick meal, I'm telling you, you go into a Taco Bell, and if you haven't been there in a while and haven't seen the menu, you don't realize how much it's changed, and it doesn't feel like a fast food restaurant when you walk into a Taco Bell. Check them out. A lot of the locations, Johnny, have been renovated as well, so new interiors and things. Check out Taco Bell today. And I do want to give a quick mention to the Blue and Orange Store online, theblueandorangestore.com. 40th anniversary of the Blue, the customized jackets. They have the bumper stickers, car flags, customizable jerseys at the Allen Noble Hall of Fame location there. The official in-venue provider of Boise State merchandise, best selection, the best prices. If you're needing Boise State gear, officially licensed Boise State gear, make sure you go check out the Blue and Orange Store. Again, they have the location at the mall. You can also order anywhere in the world online at theblueandorangestore.com. All right, Johnny, we're continuing our countdown, the 26 most important players to the Boise State football team in 2026, and we're trying to help folks kind of get familiar with some players, because some guys are guys that haven't played a lot or aren't familiar, household names yet. And some of those are because they're transfers. Maybe they're freshmen. Maybe they were backups last year, finally getting a chance. One of those guys, Johnny, today, Roman Tillmon, a transfer safety from South Dakota, was one of the best FCS safeties in the country last year at South Dakota, helped them get to the quarterfinals of the FCS playoffs, 94 tackles, 926 defensive snaps last year, was one of the highest graded safeties in the FCS, 79.5 Pro Football Focus grade, had a 79.0 run grade, 77.9 grade in coverage. All kinds of numbers and things you can read at BroncoNationNews.com from our man Nathan Carroll. But Roman Tillmon impressed in the spring and looks like he's going to be a factor back there in the secondary.
Yep, he's going to be a starter. You'll see him, you guys, he's just going to be everywhere. That's where he was in spring, just out there with the ones, flying around, making plays. I think he was a 3-star prospect in the portal. So the kid, he's like Independence, Missouri. BJ, I don't know where Fort Osage is. That's where he's from. So he went FCS out of high school.
Fort
Probably
Osage.
not.
You weren't even close.
Fort Osage. I thought it was Osage. I think, anyway, my bad. But Fort Osage, Independence, Missouri, probably not heavily recruited out of high school, but he goes into the portal and he's a 3-star. The thing that stood out to me the most in doing some prep work for this and looking back at his stuff, he's a very effective tackler. I don't know what his tackle rate is, but the guy never misses tackles. He can tackle very, very well. You'll notice that early. I'll predict right now that Roman Tillmon will be second on this team in tackling this season, because he's going to be your nickel. He'll be right up there by the line of scrimmage. He flies around. You're going to love him. Both Romans are going to fly around this year and be integral pieces of this defense, if you ask me, if he stays healthy. Of course, he'll start right away. He'll play here for 2 years. Fans are going to love him. He flies around. He hits. He tackles. He's got good hands. He has a high-level interception volume, too. This was a really good get, man. BJ, yeah, he's one of the best safeties last year in FCS. That translation works. The best FCS players come up to FBS, and in most cases, they can handle it just fine. So, I mean, yeah, and I expect Roman Tillmon to be one of those guys too. Highly productive, wraps up, flies around, highly intelligent. This was a really good get. Very, very impressed with Roman Tillmon. I think he's going to have a really good year. All conference level stuff. This was a good find.
And you mentioned the tackling, Johnny. Nathan Carroll in the article at BNN, you can read it right now at BroncoNationNews.com, does note the tackling here. His missed tackle rate was 13% last season. And to compare, both Zion Washington and Ty Benefield were above 19% missed tackles. So Roman Tillman's tackle rate is significantly better, again, at a lower level, but then both Zion Washington and Ty Benefield's numbers were last year. And Boise State did finish 135th in the country, literally almost dead last in tackling last year. So that is an area that Tillmon certainly could add. And, Nathan mentions he's a very emotional player too. You saw him doing a lot of excitement in the spring game and in a lot of spring practices when he'd make a big play, Johnny. He was very demonstrative and is a guy that's going to fire up the crowd and have that kind of just, positivity and that fire and that, however you want to phrase it out there on the field. So he's going to be a guy to fire up this defense. And we saw it from a Derek Ganter coming from the FCS level. I mean, if you're good enough to play, Johnny, it doesn't matter what level, you're going to find the field and play. And now they had some success with Ganter. He's going to step into a bigger role this year. We'll talk about him later, but now Tillmon also steps into that nickel spot. And excited about Roman Tillmon. It's going to be a new look secondary in a lot of ways, Johnny. A lot of new players, new coach, but Roman Tillmon looks like he's going to be a factor.
Yeah, it does. It's going to be a lot of new folks back there. And Derek Ganter played 1 year of FCS and came here. Tillman's played 3. Started every game.
Has 2 years left though too, so that's a big deal.
Was his team's, best defensive player last year on a team that went further than like any team in school history that he was on for the Coyotes. And feels to me like Boise State, this is a market that they should be able to secure well. And that is, get the high level FCS talent to come to Boise. And that's maybe what we're going to continue to see. You just mentioned, look at the 2 of the safeties. It's going to be Roman Tillmon, Derek Ganter, both FCS kids, in Travis Anderson, who's a homegrown high school talent that they really like. That's going to be the safeties this year, I would, for all intents and purposes, right? I mean, that's who I have penciled in. I've seen people Roman Tillmon, for me, he's kind of slipped through the cracks with a lot of people too. You probably could have even had him a little higher on this list, to be honest. But he's just it's new. But I think he could be at the end of the year. People say, "Oh, who's the best safety on the team?" And it's a quickie. Oh, it's Roman Tillmon. Yeah, duh. Yeah. He's going to be good if he stays healthy and whatnot. And the competition thing, I do buy that. But if 13% missed tackle rate at that level equates to, say, Ty Benefield, 19% missed tackle rate at this level, that's a win. If you get Benefield, Washington, who are both NFL kids, if you get that type of numbers, you'll take it. So if his missed tackle percentage drops to 19 from 13, I'm going to say, yeah, okay. That still evens out, and he's still tackling at a Buck or Zion level, which I would imagine Boise State fan is okay with. If not, somebody better talk to that person.
All right, Johnny. Well, Roman Tillmon, number 17 on our list. We appreciate you for jumping on. We're going to get to our next guest here. I know you warmed up the seat, got the audience you helped build the audience for Jeramiah Dickey because we know he needs it. So thank you for that, Johnny. And we'll be listening 3 to 6 today, Idaho Sports Talk. And then I'll join you guys tomorrow at 4:15.
Thanks, guys. Khalil Shakir today, 5 p.m. IST. Appreciate you guys.
Make sure you're listening 3 to 6, Idaho Sports Talk. I want to give a quick shout out, Matt Bauscher, Bauscher Real Estate, #1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley is Matt Bauscher and Bauscher Real Estate. We bought and sold our home using Matt and his team recently, and we're very happy and thankful for Matt. And you can do the same, 252-9877. Check them out online at BauscherRealEstate.com. And they have some cool camps going on that Matt's involved with, the Horseshoe Collective basketball camps. There's the first one's coming up June 13th to June 14th. They have that for basketball, but also for volleyball. So if you're looking to get your kids some camps this summer, the Horseshoe Collective at Boise State University and top tier lessons, bringing elite two-way camps to the Treasure Valley community. These are opportunities to train on campus alongside active Boise State athletes, including the men's basketball team and volleyball players. The camps are co-ed, open to athletes grades 3 through 8, whether your athlete is just getting started or looking to sharpen their game. Chance to develop real skills in a real college environment with real college athletes. Again, you get to go on the Extra Mile Arena floor for 2 days. They have it in Bronco Gym for the volleyball. Then there's another basketball one in July, 9 a.m., 12 p.m., both days. And again, this is through the Horseshoe Collective, so it helps get these players paid, if I could speak, and it's a new era here. So if you're more interested, you can go to horseshoecamps.com. And Matt Boucher on his Instagram, by the way, and his social media is helping take off $50 of the price for the basketball camp. So if you're interested, check out Matt Boucher's social media. There's a code on there, and you can get a $50 discount that I believe he's just covering for anyone that wants to sign up for these basketball camps. So, again, you can do that through the Horseshoe Collective basketball camps. I believe at least one of my sons will be doing it, maybe both. We'll see how this baseball tournament schedule works out, but that's through the Horseshoe Collective. Sign up, horseshoecamps.com. All right, we go to our special guest, Jeramiah Dickey, Boise State Athletic Director, nice enough to join us. And I knew when I asked Johnny Ballgame one last question, it was going to take 4 minutes. So I apologize, Jeramiah, for getting you a couple minutes late here. But happy Thursday. How we doing?
I'm doing well. Johnny killed it, man. You know, he's a talker. You got him fired up. So I enjoyed hearing how we should recruit, and I'm sure Spencer's going to tune in.
Yo, no doubt. No doubt. On a quick aside, those new camps that the players can do through the Horseshoe Collective and everything, I know it's a new era of college athletics, and then a lot of times the camps would help in the past pay for a GA's salary or something like that. But now the way you can do it through the Horseshoe Collective and help, in terms of the NIL and paying the players directly for being involved in some of these camps. I'm not sure if you guys are still planning camps on your own. I know you have the football camp next week, so I know maybe there's some still last-minute chances to sign up for the football camp. My kids have done that. That's a cool thing. But in terms of some of the collective camps and things that you guys aren't directly associated with, what do you make of that whole setup and the chance for the athletes to get paid a little more that way?
I think it's awesome, BJ. The industry's changed. And yes, we are still going to have camps. Not every sport is treated the same, and not every head coach wants to, do it, as maybe football's doing it or gymnastics and some of our other sports. But I'm really grateful for Joe and, the partnership that we've had with the collective, and I've been very vocal, at the end of the day, every dollar counts. And the more we create an experience for our student athletes and a connection to our community and those we serve, the better off we're all going to be. So if we can create those opportunities for our student athletes and Bronco Nation, and whether it's through the department or in the partnership with the collective, and someone like Joe, who's Bronco through and through, it's a win-win for us. We got to be more efficient. It's been challenging. I'm not sure any coach or staff member will get on here and say, that anything we're doing is easy, but that's part of our job. Let's create some efficiencies. Let's have strategy to it. And every dollar does count. And it's not always about money. I've been very vocal about that. Like, we don't need what everyone else has, but we need more than we got. And, I understand what our expectations are, but whether it's camps, anything in the alt rev gen space, facility projects, the sports and entertainment, we are going to throw everything at the wall to see what sticks. And some stuff is going to have a lot of success. And so far, those collective camps have been very beneficial to us.
All right, Jeramiah, let's get to some of the fan questions here. You'd surprised, maybe not surprised. I don't think you've had an athletic team lose a game in weeks here, but folks are still fired up about different things that are going on in the department. Some good, some folks, obviously, as and I'm sure you've heard directly from folks, aren't happy about some things like the reseeding, whatever. We've got a list of things here. I know there's some stuff you can't get too specific and talk about, but there's multiple questions on here about the Pac-12 Mountain West settlement. I know there's still legalities going on there, but generally, someone says here, it looks like it played out well for the Pac-12. Is there anything? I know you're in a tough spot, nothing signed or done, but how are you feeling about the where that's all headed?
Well, and in addition to that, BJ, and I always try to be transparent to Bronco Nation and our people, I've also signed like multiple NDAs at this point, and so I don't want that to be taken that I don't want to be honest and transparent. But at the end of the day, we knew this was going to be a long process. Those things aren't easy. There was a lot of data that went into it in terms of the decision and what we felt we would end up at. And I'm just really grateful for everyone involved and including the Mountain West. It still hurts my heart. I love Gloria and that team, and I know it's been really challenging for them. And so it's nice to, for both sides to come together and come to an agreement and be able to turn the page. No one wants a black cloud hanging over them. And attorneys, I understand they have purpose, and I have an attorney on staff, and I absolutely love him, but I'm also very honest to him, honest with him. Attorneys are so involved in our industry right now, and the amount of litigation that we're navigating, and it's uncomfortable, and so at the end of the day, I'm grateful that we can turn the page and think about what's next. This was kind of the final step, for us to then launch into the Pac-12, come July 1st. And, and I'm really excited to put this behind us. And I wish the Mountain West many blessings ahead. I don't wish any harm on them. I want what's best for Boise State. That's what my job is. That's where my feet are. And ultimately I have to make decisions that I feel puts us in the best position possible. And I think the future is very bright for us.
Cody Gogler, your one of your biggest hires you made, back 5 years ago, is moving on to Virginia. Jake Mencken also is moving on to Rice, two members of your kind of senior team that you've had for a long time. There's multiple questions on here about that. What's your criteria for finding a new assistant AD now that he's gone? What are the intangibles the candidates must have? And are you gonna, hire basically the same role? I know you kept adding stuff to his plate. Is this an opportunity to maybe spread that out into multiple hires or roles, or what are you looking at there? And there was I know people were kind of worried that JD told Cody he's leaving, so that's why Cody got out first. What can you? I guess the long-term plan here and having to replace some people. Just what would you say to folks about your status as well?
I appreciate them asking, and there's a letter going out to our BA members, maybe today. I need to get with Coots on it. First and foremost, and there's a lot of questions in there, BJ, so you keep track of my answers to make sure I'm hitting them all, because those are good questions, and I appreciate them asking that. First and foremost, I absolutely love Cody. It's not, he wasn't just, and they sold him short. He's not an assistant AD, and there's nothing against being an assistant AD. He was my deputy AD. More importantly to me, BJ, he's my best friend. And, and I'll try not to get emotional, but I love Cody. And, a lot of what I did over the course of the last 5 years, and even prior when we were at Baylor, and I'll speak to Jake and some of the other guys who have left, a lot of what I did was what people did with me. My job was to help him achieve whatever his goals in life were. And Cody is going to be a phenomenal AD. And I was really bummed about the Toledo search. It's nothing against who they picked, but at the end of the day, I'm going to back my guy. And I think Cody, I know he is absolutely elite, and he is going to be an amazing AD and much better than me. And so everything that I've done, over the last 5 years or since becoming a Bronco and bringing Cody on, he was one of my first hires along with Jake Mencken, was to prepare him for that next step and next chapter of life, and to give him the responsibilities that allowed him to grow and empower him and have his back and stand in the gap. I say it all the time. My job is to protect and promote. And when I think about my team, what does that mean? Protect is we're going to make mistakes. We're not going to be perfect. We're human. Like, we're working as hard as we possibly can. We are moving extremely quickly through various processes, and the hand we're holding is changing daily. And so my job is to protect them and take the responsibility. Whether I'm empowering them or not in that space, my job is to have their back. And then when we have success, and I try to be vocal and live this out in action, and I think you all see it through social, they get the credit. I can't, what I'm going to miss most about Cody, and it ties into your other question of, what I'm looking for. Cody and I are aligned in terms of our values. And I think that gets lost. I've learned a lot through failure in my career, and putting the outcome over the process, and putting the outcome over my people and my team. And that's why I'm so vocal that it takes a team, and Cody aligned with who I am, God, family, in this job, and his integrity and his grit and how humble he is, and, and his willingness to be, like, we're in a constant state of growth. If I ever come on this show or ever present that I know everything, like, that is a painful death, BJ, and Cody aligned with that. And so when I look at what the future looks like, and obviously I'm always having to think through plan A through Z, I'm going to have to backfill some positions, but I'm also in a position that I am stretching dollars. I have to be that much more strategic and make really sound financial decisions And a lot of that ties into our budget or lack thereof, and where we're currently at in our industry and what the expectations are here. And so there's a lot at play. I'm very grateful. It takes a team. Anything that my team is working on, nothing is done as an individual. So anything Cody was working on, there was someone else in that foxhole with it. It could have been Nate. It could have been Coots. It could have been Austin on our major gift team, Bills on the foundation team. There's someone else in the foxhole. Matt Wild, from a legal standpoint, when we look at Bronco Pro. And so I view everything as opportunity. I don't have the time or the bandwidth to cry over spilt milk. I wish Cody many blessings ahead, and Kelsey, and I absolutely love that guy. And I want him to have the success that he has earned and deserves. And when I think about the rest of my team, Jake Mankin, I've known Jake longer than I've known Cody. Him and I, were at Houston together, and Jake went through some of those challenges that I had as a leader of embracing the process versus the outcome and running people over, because, I'm an achiever. And so Jake has seen me, kind of transition and how I've learned through all of this, and how I'm not a finished product. And another guy that I just care so much about. And, what I'm really proud of, BJ, you mentioned, those two, and I've lost, Justin to Wake Forest. I've lost someone to Cincinnati. I've lost someone to TCU. At the end of the day, that makes me really proud. People are recognizing the work we are doing, and we are having success at it when we are doing more with less than anyone in the country. And that is something to be proud of. And those guys are creating opportunities. When I first got here, I had a lot of people that maybe wanted to be in Boise more than they wanted to be Broncos, or maybe they had not in a bad way. There's nothing wrong with this, that they wanted to be here. They weren't going to move up and on, and they didn't want to be an AD, and they're smarter than me. But they wanted to move up and on, or they didn't want to move up and on. Now I have people that they have goals and aspirations, and my job is to help them. So when I still talk to all these guys, and I'm always going to be a resource for them. I'm so proud of what the work they did, and the goal, BJ, is to leave it better than you found it. And they have done that. And so now my job with my team is to backfill what's appropriate and to make sure that we're aligned with what's expected. And revenue gen is an important space for us. And so I'm in the process of working through that. We've lost some guys, and when I'm always planning out, like, all right, if this person leaves, who's backfilling? And I always want to promote from within. Doesn't always happen, but I get to see these people work every day. I understand who they are as people, and what's important to them, and their level of grind and grit, and those things, the work ethic aspect that's important to me. So I always look internally, and then I may have to go externally. And that's not an indictment on anyone, but I know the characteristics in the person that I need in that role. And it may not be a deputy. That's what I'm working through right now. I got to stretch these dollars. I got to do what's best by my team. And that may mean me creating more bandwidth so I can be a part of that. I come from the external side. I'm not concerned. We have good processes and infrastructure in place. I have a great team around me that's stepping up. I mean, BJ, I got guys which was so different 5 years ago. I got guys that I haven't even, I'm getting pulled in a million different directions right now. And they're texting me, JD, we got you. And we're working on X, Y, and Z, and keep us posted if you need anything. I can't tell you how grateful I am. And that's a testament to how we've poured into our people. That's a testament to how we've professionally developed them. And that's the pipeline that we're providing to this industry, because here you learn so much more than what your job description is. So I feel I'm in a good place. Coots and I have met, and my leadership team and I have met, and I have some meetings today in terms of some of Cody's direct reports. And it's always what's next. Control what we can control. I know what the hand is that we're holding, and it's ready, aim, fire, and we're going to move quickly and try to get these positions and whatever positions that we end up needing to get backfilled. But it's not just in the external space. We've had some attrition across the department. And once again, and you mentioned, I think I've hit every question. You mentioned, me and these, the what's out there in the social media world. BJ, it's God family in this job. And are you talking to me? Did I lose you, BJ?
You don't even hear me. I was muted. How about that?
No,
that was the greatest question of all time, and I had myself muted. I was just going to say quickly one on this, and we'll move on, because I know, again, you don't like talking about this kind of stuff, and it just gets thrown out there a lot. But because of the success you've had, your name does pop up and things like that. And not to put you in a bad spot, but there's like 17 questions about it on here, so we can hit on one and move on. But ID Baseball is asking specifically about the Kentucky job, but just in general, like I said, a lot of people saw Cody leaving and said, "Oh no, that's that we should be worried now about you." But what any thoughts to Bronco Nation about you sitting in that chair right there?
Yeah, BJ, and I was going into that and finishing up the previous question. It's God, family, in this job. What I want for my life is God's will, and if that's to be the AD, great here, and if it's to become a missionary, if it's to get out of the industry, like that is my number one priority. And I talk a lot about faith and family and head, heart, and gut, and at the end of the day, BJ, it is a testament to my team, and I'm not going to speak to every rumor that's out there and every post that has me mentioned. Quite honestly, it's humbling for me. I don't consider myself bigger than the team. I have a phenomenal team. We've done an unbelievable job with a lot less support than people realize, in terms of institution and state, and we have put our best foot forward. And so anytime my name's mentioned, that's our name. That's Bronco Nation stepping up. That's my staff and people in this community that are supportive of us. And so it's a testament to them, and they should be proud. It's a lot better having it that way than the opposite of, maybe they want to get rid of you. I understand they love you today and they may hate you tomorrow. But that's a testament to my team. And, I'm not going to speak to specific jobs or whatever else. It's God, family, in this job, and I'm where my feet are. And I continue to lift up my life to him. And my job is my goal really is to live his will out for my life.
All right, couple more things here. Well, and let's get to some hard pressing questions here with Jeramiah Dickey, Boise State Athletic Director. The reseeding process, Extra Mile Arena, as you know, that's been a polarizing figure here, and it looks like my numbers are from Chris. 84% of season ticket holders have opted back into this point. There's emails going out now this summer about the process for picking new seats. I know when you guys decided this, you knew obviously it was going to be something that was going to be I don't know if controversial is the right word. Maybe it is, but just that some folks were going to like, some weren't. What do you make of the feedback to this point, and what were you expecting in terms of renewal rates and things like that? And what would you say to folks that are a little frustrated about that and saying that if they don't get their same seats, they're out and things like that?
Yeah. So high level, BJ, we decided to move forward. I will say I decided to move forward with reseeding because that's what this department needs. When we look at the expectations, the same people that are upset about it are also the same people that email me when we lose and when we don't meet expectations. There are so many revenue streams that we can control, and then there's others that we're trying to create. And the reality is we inherited, a very difficult situation with Extra Mile. One, we didn't oversee Extra Mile. That has now changed. That has been part of a plan and a process and something I've asked for since the day I got here. And I'm sure I'm not the only AD. I believe every AD prior to me has asked for that. But that's a big thing. We have to control more of our revenue, and we have to monetize our operations differently. This was not done for personal gain. It was not done, because we were bored. This was done for the betterment of how we serve our staff, student athletes, and supporters. And so I understand there's frustration. I'm empathetic to that. All things equal. And if we weren't having to share revenue, which is an expense for us, and that wasn't a part of our industry and the hand we were holding, yeah, BJ, at the end of the day, I would love to give free tickets, but that's not the reality. There is a cost to doing business, and there is value, in what we provide. And so reseeding allows us to reset the table. We have you look at when I got here, BJ, I don't think we had, more than $10 million gifts in our history. I think we're over 30 now. And, from like 26 families, or businesses, families, whatever, groups. And a lot of them are anonymous, because they want to keep it anonymous. We had 3,400, 3,500 donors. We have over 10,000 now. Like, this is why we built the infrastructure we did. This is why, it was so important to create that pipeline. And then we have to be able to provide value back to the fans and impact that student athlete experience, which impacts recruiting, which impacts winning and the outcome that everyone wants. And so I'm trusting the process. When I look at the number 84%, that's awesome. And anyone who doesn't want to be a part of it, great. Like, I can't control that, man. Like, I think you and everyone knows my heart, and my heart is to serve, and my heart is to prepare these kids for life, and my heart is to compete for championships. And we are making decisions that puts us in the best possible position. And those that have been challenging, I understand. I'm empathetic, but at the end of the day, it's like cutting off your nose to spite your face. We are doing what we feel is in the best interest of this department and those we serve. And we represent something bigger than ourselves. And I fully expect us to sell a lot of tickets. And I look at the Pac-12 and who we have coming in, and it was a great time. The other thing, BJ, is we have to create a better fan experience, and that's not an indictment on those that want to sit there and act like we're watching golf. What I can tell you is it makes a difference. I look at Grand Canyon and their student section. It's insane. Yes, that's on me. And we got to figure that out. And we have done some things in that space to really positively impact that student section. That is our future pipeline. Everything counts. Everything matters. Everything is connected, from our camps to our Buster Bronco, kids club to the annual fund, to the alumni, to everything connects. So my job is to put it together with our team, and that's what we've done. And you look at the fan section and section 12, and like, how awesome is that section? But sometimes in the game, BJ, like, they're the only ones cheering. They're the only ones standing up. It's like, guys, there's less than 5 minutes in this game, and we're up or down, and like, it matters. It creates the experience and the competitiveness, a competitive advantage for us to truly put our best foot forward and support those men and women on that quarter field of play. Like, that's where it matters. It's not coming from a selfish side. It's coming for what we expect, which we're bar raisers. We know what the expectations are. Basketball, like, yes, we have a down season, and it's changed. It used to be you win 20 games and it's like, oh, this is great. It's not that way anymore, and we have expectations. Compete for championships, make the NCAA tournament. Well, guess what? It's a blessing and a curse. I went through it with football last year. I got emails, BJ, and tweets at me and whatever else that, am I thinking about going a different direction from Spencer? What the hell are we doing? Like it just doesn't, I can't fathom it. But what I do appreciate is that's passion and there are expectations. When I got here, there were zero expectations for basketball. Now there are expectations. People are pissed. Good. That means we did our job. We told this story. And guess what? I'm not going to stop in terms of how we set this up. I expect everyone to get off their butts and cheer. I expect them in moments of the game to cheer. I expect them to be loud. I don't want the people in front of me turning around telling my kids to be quiet. Like, I'm passionate about this. And guess what?
Which did happen, by the way.
Which did happen. And I'm passionate about this. Like, and if they don't want to be a part of that, great. Great. There's other sports. Go to soccer, go whatever. And I expect them to get off the seats too. But obviously it's maybe a lot less impactful in terms of the number of seats we have. Go support, the soccer team in the community. Go support Steelheads. I'm fine. Support something in the community. But what I can tell you is I'm not going to be held hostage. I'm going to do what's right for this place. And if it's 84, 85, if we get to 90%, I guarantee you we're going to go find others to fill those seats. This community is growing, and we won't stop. And we are going to always do what's right. And if people don't like that, then that's okay. I get it. We'll save you a seat, and you're always welcome back. And I'm okay with that.
All right, we got like less than 5 minutes left, and I got like 4 topics. Maybe you can pick what you want to hit on.
We can stay longer, BJ. I have some time. So
okay, a couple more things. That'd be great then. How about the feasibility study? You're mentioning Extra Mile Arena. You guys are doing the feasibility study with Extra Mile Arena. I mean, at one point, I don't remember if it was before you got here or what, but there was actually even some images of like things you wanted to do to one of the sides of Extra Mile Arena with some club seating and kind of redoing the whole side there. Now that you do control it, what are you looking at there? And then also, as everybody continues to bring up, there's multiple comments in here. What's next after the north end zone? The east side, I know, is a big deal, and you guys are looking at resloping that and maybe bringing the seats closer. But what are you hoping to get out of this feasibility study, and what's kind of a timeline for that, and when some of these things that they suggest could actually happen?
Yeah, great question. So I know we've spoken about this before, and I've been pretty vocal on it. When I first got here, BJ, we partnered with ACOM. It was tied into our What's Next initiative, Playbook for Success. My job was to create a vision. What I walked into was a department that had settled, and that's not me. That's not who I am. That's not an indictment. Like, that's human nature. That happens. We have to do a really good job of continuing to raise the bar. And so early on, it was this grand vision and creating this athletic footprint, and we were able to do some really cool things. And we were able to, we impacted every facility in that process. Was it the exact thing that we put out? No, but I knew that early on. I needed to give people a vision and hope, and we needed to get to work. And there were so many deferred maintenance projects and things that just had sat for so long, that, like our locker room projects, like replacing the indoor turf and not having video boards and lights at soccer and so on and so forth. Like, we had to do a lot of that. Updated graphics, BJ. Like, we dropped sports, which that's a whole other thing. And I don't want to get into that, but I don't believe in dropping sports, but that's what happened. And so I inherit that, and we still have, graphics in our office. It's just not who we are. And there is a standard, and so we went to work and we did a lot of things, but we've now gotten over that hump. We have touched every facility. We have improved and impacted the deferred maintenance aspect of our department, all in the backs of Bronco Nation, which I'm extremely grateful. And now it's what's next. And so when I look at Extra Mile, that was part of it. Getting control over Extra Mile wasn't a control, and I'm not a control freak. It was, I know we can monetize it differently. And so launching of sports and entertainment, but we got to get premium space. We have 4 seats and that's it. We have some dungeon rooms that I can put lipstick on pig all day. And we've been really good at that. But I need premium space for the events that we're driving in outside of athletics, and for the athletics events. It impacts gymnastics and women's basketball and volleyball now that's going to be in there. It impacts men's basketball. We need to create the best possible experience. We are the NBA, NFL, etc. of this community and state. We are the front porch of this state. So we can't stop. So that's a big part of MMQ and what they're going to do, and our vision of what that looks like. And that's going to be important to us. When we think about Albertson Stadium, same thing. It's not just Overbill on the east side, it's Overbill on the east and west side. We are selling out every game. That is the expectation. It's not a prideful thing. It's something to be proud of, but like, that impacts outcomes. We are a very challenging place to compete at. So let's create the best possible experience. We are a fast growing community. The economy is great here. We need to create opportunities for all these people coming in, with us selling out, with us doing the north end zone, and what we expect to net off the north end zone. It has value. If we can do overbuilds and get over 40,000 seats, that has value. And it doesn't just impact the athletic events, it impacts our entertainment events. And that's something that I'm really proud of. And then you look at outside the stadium, and this ties into a lot of the things that we've talked about, auditorium district and for too long, BJ, this institution and specifically this athletics department has been taken advantage of. Roll your sleeves up. I get it. My work ethic is important to me, and I'm as blue collar as they come. At the end of the day, though, I'm wearing a tank top now. I don't know how much more I can roll my team's sleeves up. We are doing everything we possibly can to elevate this place and meet and match and exceed the expectations that have been defined, which I am all in favor of, because that's who we are. And so we have to get more creative. We have to be able to create partnerships with the city, the county, the state. We got with the institution. When I look at this greenbelt and a river that you can actually see to the bottom of, and the number of people that are walking and where our facilities are and the experiences that we can provide, we would be doing a disservice if we didn't look at some type of entertainment district outside of our stadium, right? We have the largest events in the state.
Yep.
We got to think more proactively and strategically and be efficient with the dollars we have and create new revenue streams, which ties in the alt gen that we're working on. And so those are things that are important to me. Once again, not from a control standpoint, but my job is to improve. My job is to leave this place better than I found it. My job is to continue to invest and serve our staff, student athletes, and supporters. And I'm not going to stop, and it maybe makes people uncomfortable. But at some point, people have to start recognizing there are two sides of this coin. And athletics is a big reason this institution exists. And it's a big reason that there has been success and people know about Boise and Idaho in general. It's potatoes and that blue turf. And so we have to take advantage of that. It's very challenging to build a brand. And I'm so grateful for the work of others that I inherited, that foundation that we're building off of. But at the end of the day, BJ, it is extremely easy to lose. And people have to keep that top of mind, and I'm not going to stop. And it's going to maybe make people feel uncomfortable, but that's my job. And that's what being a leader is. My job is not to make everyone happy, and my job is not for everyone to like me. At the end of the day, my job is to do what's best and what's right and to serve the people that I'm responsible for. And I take that very seriously.
So how does the sports and entertainment announcement also kind of play into that, kind of what you're talking about? And I know I saw a tweet from Nathan Burke about, you guys had been doing stuff with all these events for years. Now Rutgers is trying to act like they're the first to do this or something. And you said, hey, we've been ahead of this, every trend. We've been doing this for a long time now, but the official launch of this sports and entertainment, and somebody was asking, when's the next concert announcement coming? I mean, I think we're probably at the time of year where it's not happening, obviously, this summer. But we have the Banana Ball coming up. You have the Monster Truck Show in 2 weeks. And by the way, the Banana Ball, I mean, seeing some of the other stadiums they've been doing and stuff, if folks aren't excited about that getting closer and closer, that's going to be just amazing. But what can you tell us about the sports and entertainment announcement you guys made last week, and how that ties into bringing more events here and things?
Yeah, BJ, this started day one. When I got here, this department did not oversee the Stickle Sky Center. And we're in a community that is fast growing, that needs more hotels, larger hotels, has a lot of people moving in, and there are a lot of opportunities that we were not taking advantage of as an institution. And so very quickly, within that first year, we were able to get control over Stickle Sky Center. It was cost prohibitive in terms of what they were doing, and every dollar counts. So we did that, and my job isn't, I'm not trying to put anyone on blast or whatever. I'm just being honest and transparent. It was short-sighted. We have to think differently, and we saw what was coming. So it started with Stickle, and then it started with the conversations of trying to get Extra Mile. And I can't say enough about President Shin, and I'm really happy for him and wish him many blessings ahead. He did more in a year than previous presidents did in their tenure to help athletics. And I'm really grateful. And it was the first conversation him and I had before they even named him interim. I need Extra Mile, not from a control standpoint, but we got to positively impact the customer and fan experience, and we got to monetize our operations differently. And, with the launch of sports and entertainment, we've been ahead of this. We finally had some alignment where we were able to get control, and now we're building out something that you don't see a lot in our industry. And we are in a very special location in terms of the West Coast, that a lot of events do come through here. This year, BJ, we're projecting over 5,000 public and private events, which includes our athletic events. Now, I don't want to do anything that's negatively impacting our student athletes, but every dollar we bring in positively impacts our coaches, staff, and student athletes and those we serve. So, I'm really excited, and Nate is killing it right now, and his collective team. And this is something him and I have had a lot of conversations on, and, we're going to bet on ourselves, and when you think about those events, it could be a wedding. We've had funerals, we've had receptions, we've had, office retreats, high school football. I mean, you look at the North End Zone, like we were having to remove student athletes to be able to put on a high school football game. We don't have to do that anymore. We're having to use our football locker room and impacting that team. We don't have to do that anymore. We can, it gives us options. But when you think about the number of events we can drive through here, yes, there's concerts. Everyone goes to the concerts, and that is important to us. And we net a lot of money off those concerts, and that's important to us. And most of that is done in the fall when it's formalized, and so Nate and his team are working through that. But you look at Monster Trucks, you look at Savannah Bananas, high school football, all the other events that I've mentioned. My goal is to utilize our facilities 365 days a year. And we now have an infrastructure in place that will allow us to do that. And that results in more revenue towards this department. We are, for the most part, BJ, a self-funded entity. And there are so many revenue streams I can control. And then my job is to create new ones. And that's where we're a ready and fire, operation. Like, we're going to bet on ourselves, and we're going to do things different. I get questioned all the time. Like, where do these ideas come from? I watch what others are doing. I was just at a conference. It was at Nike, long story short, and I'm looking at little things, that Nike does, the swoosh on the elevator buttons and how they do the QR codes in their bathroom if something's off. And those are important things. It impacts the experience. I want Bronco Nation to see, every time they come to a facility, see something different. And that's something that drives us to always do more and willing to bet on ourselves. And like I said earlier, when you get that alignment, when we get that alignment with campus and board and state, epic is possible. Right now it's on the backs of us, and that's part of my job. That's why I've spent so much time at the Capitol and at various events and speaking, and that's why I'm so vocal on social media. It's not self-serving. It's not about me. It's about the people I serve, and I want to put our best foot forward.
Well, final question with that, the Cantwell Cruise bill, we saw that yesterday. I know you're involved in one of the committees somewhere on the list. What can you tell us about? I know there's a lot that still has to happen for that to actually become reality, and a lot of it's just, conjecture, whatever. But in terms of what we saw yesterday of the bill, and there's going to be another hearing, I guess, coming up in the next couple of weeks at the White House again. And then, your involvement in all of this, being on one of those committees and things. What can you just say about the news of yesterday and how that, trickles down to impact the Boise State?
Yeah. I think there was an article today, the Power Four has been working on solutions and lobbying for the past 7 years. What I've seen this year is progress. It may be inches, and I know we need miles. And I know as an industry, we keep digging, and the bottom is when you stop. And I know solutions exist, but the positive of everything that we are hearing publicly is that there is alignment with the buckets that are challenges, whether it's employment, transfer portal, Title IX, agents, a true cap versus the floor that we're operating with now, the sustainability of our industry. You're not going to find many ADs or presidents that won't agree with the challenges that have been discussed and people have been very public about. Last year when I was vocal, it felt lonely, and I'm not saying I'm the driver of it. I'm doing what's best for this place. And so I'm speaking my mind. You're seeing a lot more ADs and a lot more media members and a lot more politicians and presidents are being vocal about what's going on. And to me, that's progress. And seeing a bipartisan bill, I'm not sure that anyone ever thought that was possible. And now all of a sudden there is something. Now, what are the chances? I don't know, BJ. SCORE Act continues to get pushed forward and then it dies. And I think it's been presented 6 times, or maybe it never got to the presentation phase. But, but hope is powerful. And I'm hopeful, man. There's a lot of value in what we provide to the communities we serve, and the economic impact. And it ties into everything that I've done and we've done here, in terms of telling our story and why the economic impact was so important and what we represent, and that there are two sides of this coin, and we have to be vocal because it matters. We do represent something bigger than ourselves, and a lot of ADs in the communities they serve can say the same thing. And so I get it. Congress has a lot on their plate, BJ. There's a lot going on worldwide. There's a lot going on nationally. I'm not saying it's top of the list for them, but I know it's not bottom of the list. And the work of people like Cody Campbell, and everyone has an opinion, right? And I'm grateful for Cody. He's put his money where his mouth is, and he's fighting for what he feels is right. And I think in many ways, BJ, people are looking for perfection. There is no perfection. We have completely broken this to the point that there is no perfection, but we got to bite off what we can chew, and we have to make changes because we are dying a slow death, and it is impacting our industry. You're seeing people get out of this industry, and I know we're having an impact on these kids, and the why still should matter, that we are here to prepare them for life, and we better figure it out sooner than later. And so I do see a little bit of a runway ahead of us. It aligns with everything I felt as we read the tea leaves. I'm grateful to represent on that subcommittee, but committee work is one thing. It's the leaders in this industry truly stepping up and making decisions and truly putting others first. Money is important. I'm not going to, sit here and say it's not. But at the end of the day, at what cost, and are we setting us up for failure, when we look 3, 5, 10 years from now and the impact that we're having? The cat's out of the bag. We're always going to pay student athletes, and the cost of doing business has gone up, and but we got to get locked in on guardrails. We got to hold ourselves accountable to the rules. There are rules, but a lot of people spend a lot more time, as opposed to following them, trying to figure out ways around them. And in many ways we're our own worst enemy. And so we got to do what's right. We got to operate with integrity. And we got to fully understand that we do represent something for, bigger than ourselves. And when I look at however many more years I have, BJ. I don't want to look back and say shoulda, coulda, woulda. I want this industry that's been very good to me and to my family and something I care very much about. I want it to survive. I want it to succeed. I want it to be sustainable for the future generations that we impact. And, I think outside the GI Bill, like athletics has provided more opportunities than anything else. That's powerful. And I look at our pipeline into this community and the number of student athletes we bring in from out of state who stay here and become part of the workforce and become, once Bronco, always Bronco, and are supportive. That matters. And that's worth fighting for.
Well, we appreciate your time. It always goes super fast here now. I never get to all the questions on my list, but I'm going to cut it there, and I appreciate you for your time. Blake says, can we get Taylor Swift for the next tour? And Chad says Taylor Swift should be begging you guys to get into Albertson Stadium. So,
no, I can assure you, BJ and Bronco Nation, like Nate and our team and Lisa, and it's been awesome this transition with EMA, and it's just such great people, and they work so hard. They are working day and night. And, and I don't, I'm indifferent, man. Whether it's rock, country, rap, it doesn't matter to me. Like, we need to drive as many events as possible. It will impact this community in a positive way, and it will very much impact this department. And I can assure you that we're working through that.
Well, I know you would have preferred to just talk youth baseball for the 35 minutes we had, but I'm sure we'll see you out at Settlers Park this weekend. We got the big Keith Berg tournament. Both our kids play in the same organization, so I'm sure we'll be out there seeing you. Good luck to your squad, and appreciate you. Looks like it's going to be good weather this weekend. So we got the 2 kids, so we got the 6 pool play games. It's going to be a busy weekend for all of us, but appreciate you for coming on. Enjoy your weekend, and we will be good luck to Eli and the crew, and we'll be catching up with you again next month, JD.
Thank you, BJ. I hope to see you. I will be there tomorrow. I do have some travel, unfortunately, but good luck to your kids and Bronco Nation. I love you, and I hope everyone has a safe weekend, and go Broncos.
Thanks, JD.
Thanks, man.
Jeremiah Dick, appreciate him, guys. He gives us, that was like 40 minutes of his time, so we're very appreciative and thankful for him for doing that. And I couldn't get to all your questions. There were some other questions on there, so I apologize that we didn't get to every question on the list, and I had more that I wanted to get to. We didn't get to ask about the TV schedule and some other things, but some in-depth answers there. And if it means an extra minute or two and him giving a well thought out answer as opposed to just quick hitters where you get to everything but you don't really get a real answer, I'd prefer the way he does it. So appreciate him, and not every AD would take questions straight from you guys, positive, negative, whatever on there. So we do appreciate Jeremiah Dickey, Chris Coots for their time and setting that up every month, because like I said, not a lot of ADs would do that. Hey, thanks to Signature Roofing, speakpipe.com/BNN. You can leave us a voicemail. It's brought to you by Signature Roofing, covering our community for more than 2 decades, one roof at a time. Signature Roofing online, mysignatureroofing.com. You can check them out. All your roofing needs, whether it's a re-roof, a repair, an estimate, an inspection, all your roofing needs. Make sure you hit up our friends at Signature Roofing. Hey, Element Fencing, elementfencing.com. elementfencing.com, family-owned fencing company. Appreciate them. 25-plus years in the fencing company. elementfencing.com. If you're decks, pergolas, you name it. If you're looking for a new fence, make sure you hit up Element Fencing. Ridley's Family Markets, shopridleys.com. Check out Ridley's Family Markets, shopridleys.com. They got 13 locations across the state of Idaho. Ridley's Family Markets, shopridleys.com. And if you want that hometown feel when you walk into a grocery store, check out the CUNA or the Treasure Valley locations, Ridley's Family Markets. And, of course, rowpaint.com, Andy Rowe and Company, all your painting needs, whether it's interior, exterior painting, those world-famous concrete coatings, they got you covered. I highly recommend that Painter for a Day project. You provide the paint, they provide the painter, and they can help you out in all your painting projects at rowpaint.com. Appreciate, again, Jeremiah Dickey. Thank you to everybody. And, again, I couldn't get to all the questions, so I do apologize. He can get a little long-winded, and sometimes we get off track a little bit, so I do apologize if I didn't get to all your questions, but he gave us basically 45 minutes of his time today. So thanks to JD, thanks to all you guys, thanks to Johnny for joining us earlier. Go subscribe, BroncoNationNews.com. You can read about Roman Tillmon, our countdown, the 26 most important players to the Boise State football team, daily online coverage, even in the middle of the summer at BroncoNationNews.com. You can go on our message boards and chat and subscribe and talk to folks there. So BroncoNationNews.com. We hope you'll subscribe. 50% off right now. help support our efforts, help support interviews and shows like this where you get to hear directly from the athletic director and have your questions answered. So if you're liking what you're seeing, 50% off our annual subscription right now at BroncoNationNews.com. We're part of the 24/7 sports family. So appreciate you guys. Hope you have a great day. And no show tomorrow. Both my kids have morning baseball games tomorrow, and I'm electing to say no show. It's late May. I think we'll do okay without a Friday show in late May. So no show tomorrow. We'll have 2 of our countdown players on Monday. They're both offensive linemen, so Brad Bedell will join me on Monday. Apologize, but no show tomorrow. My kids will be out at the ball field. I'm going to go spend some time watching them when I have the chance. So appreciate you guys. Hope you have a great rest of your Thursday, great Friday, great weekend. And don't forget to hit up Lithia Ford of Boise. That's 72-hour sale going on right now at Lithia Ford of Boise. The best prices, the 72-hour sales underway. Hope you check it out. Hope you have a great couple days. Go get some Sun Cruisers, and we'll see you online throughout the day, throughout the weekend, BroncoNationNews.com. But our next show will come Monday morning unless there's any pressing breaking news until then. We'll talk to you guys later. Bronco Nation News live from Sun Cruiser Studios, a presentation of Lithia Ford of Boise. We'll see you at Bronco Nation News, BroncoNationNews.com. Take care, everybody.
Hey, Bronco Nation. This is Matt Wagner with Boise State Football. In football, opportunities can open up, but only for a moment, and the best players know when to step up and step in. At Lithia Ford of Boise, our 72-hour sales event is going on now. It works the same way. This Thursday through Sunday only. Take advantage of limited time pricing, strong trade-in values, and competitive selection of new and pre-owned vehicles that are ready to meet real-world needs. Bronco Nation, this is your opportunity to step up and step into Lithia Ford of Boise and make the most of it this Thursday through Sunday night. Don't wait. Come see us at Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho.